UCLA may have just been handed one of the strangest opportunities in college football, if we're being honest, because a guy who was literally in an NFL training camp days ago is back into the transfer portal. And if UCLA wants him, this could become one of Bob Chesney's most fascinating roster decisions all offseason. I know. The first reaction, UCLA already has running backs and good ones, right? You got Wayne Knight, has been one of the biggest standouts in camp. Javion Thomas is back. Anthony Woods is there. This might be one of the strongest position groups on the offense. So this is not UCLA scrambling to patch a hole. This is UCLA deciding whether a proven former Bruin is too good of an opportunity to ignore. So on this episode of the Big Ten Huddle presented by FanDuel, we're discussing an interesting happening right now. You see, earlier this week, former Bruin TJ Harden was granted a 5th year of eligibility by the Louisiana Temporary Restraining Order. Harden spent 3 seasons with UCLA before transferring out to SMU for 2025. He entered the NFL draft, went undrafted, signed with Cleveland, later landed with Seattle, and he was waived by Seattle this week. Normally, that story means your career's over, it's done, college career finished, try to catch on somewhere else in the NFL or maybe go to Canadian Football League, right? Except college football is not normal. Ever. Not anymore, not ever, maybe someday, but at least right now it's not, because of the temporary restraining order coming out of Louisiana involving players challenging the NCAA's eligibility rules. Harden now has a path to pursue another college season, and he has entered into the transfer portal. Think about how ridiculous that sentence would have been 6 months ago, right? It's even more ridiculous now because you got players playing in NFL preseason games, but possibly also coming back to college. A player goes through the draft, signs NFL contract, participates in camp, gets waived, and then suddenly he can shop for another college team in late August, but that is where we are right now. Just plain and simple. It's weird. It sucks, but it is what it is. And UCLA, they could turn a situation that sucks into a situation that helps them. Why UCLA? Well, you start with the obvious. Harden already knows Westwood. He played 31 games for UCLA over 3 seasons, ran for almost 1,700 yards there. His best rushing season as a Bruin came in 2023 when he had 827 yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. In 2024, he also caught 40 passes for 368 yards. Then he went to SMU and proved he could still handle a real workload last season. He carried it 171 times for 787 yards and 9 rushing touchdowns, plus another receiving score. This is not some former player UCLA would bring back because everybody remembers his name. Harden can still play, and he proved it at SMU. And now we get to the question that matters most. Would UCLA actually take him or need him, right? Maybe need. Let's start there. Wayne Knight has looked fantastic. Bob Chesney said during camp, Wayne looks unbelievable. He called him explosive, the complete player. Wayne is coming off 1,300, almost 1,400 yards rushing last season at James Madison. Got Javion Thomas, who already produced at UCLA, and Anthony Woods gives you another veteran option there too. So Harden would not walk into Westwood and automatically become the entire offense of the starter. But listen, that might actually be the argument for doing this. UCLA does not need Harden to carry the ball 25 times every Saturday. UCLA needs to survive a Big Ten season. There's a difference. Running back depth can disappear in 2 quarters. One turned ankle, one shoulder issue, one guy gets worn down after 6 weeks, and suddenly that's overcrowded against a room that looks completely normal in October. Chesney has already talked about how rare it is for running backs to make it through an entire season healthy. And that's why UCLA will need multiple players this season. So if a player with more than 3,000 career yards from scrimmage suddenly becomes available and he already knows your campus, why would you not investigate it and try to figure it out? I mean, and this is where the FanDuel odds make the conversation a little bit more interesting, because right now UCLA is currently at minus 210 at FanDuel to win 6 or more games and possibly make a bowl game, which would be huge for them if they can win 6 or more and make a bowl game. That tells you the expectation has already changed. It's not just 3-win UCLA team being treated like it has no chance. The market is saying 6 wins is considerably more likely than not, and you got to capitalize on people believing in your program, because belief is not easy to get. Bob Chesney knows this, and if you look at the schedule, you've got a schedule that is going to be not the most difficult to compete against, but but pretty difficult. California, San Diego State, Purdue, Maryland, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Nevada, Minnesota, Illinois. Then you have Oregon, Michigan in your rivalry game with USC to end it all. There's a path to 6 wins there, but there's also a bunch of games where UCLA is probably going to live on the margins, and that is where another proven running back could really matter. Maybe Harden does not turn UCLA into a playoff team. That's not my argument here. Okay, maybe he turns turns one ugly 20-17 game into a win. Maybe he keeps Knight fresh in November for him to be able to go out there and ball out in November in those tough games that you got to end the season. Maybe he gives Nico Iamaleava another reliable check down option. Maybe he is the guy you trust when you have to close out a fourth quarter and everybody knows you're going to run the football, and he's got the experience to be able to be back there and do whatever needs to happen for your team to be able to move the ball down the field. When your goal is getting from 3 wins to bowl eligibility, one player is not going to transform your entire program, but he's certainly going to help. Sometimes he just has to change one game, and one game could be the difference between 5-7 and 6-6. And that's why I would be aggressive if I were UCLA and trying to get Harden. There is another side of this as well. You have spent an entire offseason building this running back room. Roles are becoming defined. Chemistry is developing. Knight followed Chesney from James Madison and understands what the staff wants. Dropping another veteran into the room would not give him very much playing time at the very beginning, but if things happen with your running back room, he could become useful later on. It's like, inviting another chief into the kitchen when dinner's already on the stove, right? You better know exactly why he is there and what he's going to do, but he's also going to need to wait his turn for everybody else to get there so he can come in. That's a poor analogy. I'm sorry. I thought it was going to work. Anyway, Harden also has to decide that returning to college is better than continuing to chase the NFL opportunities. And that's not automatic. There are real reasons this might never happen. But I keep coming back to this. UCLA is trying to build a winner immediately under Bob Chesney, not 3 years from now. Immediately. They want to go out. They want to get the respect. And if you believe this team can make a bowl game, that is the perfect starting point for success. You go more than that, awesome. Great. That's cake. That's awesome, right? That's like just dessert on top of it. But you need to at least get a bowl game. And Harden is not a projection. We know what he is. He has produced at UCLA. He has produced at SMU. He's been through an NFL offseason at this point. If he wants to come back to Westwood, I would rather have too many proven running backs than spend November wishing I had one more. One quick note before we get out of here: Trent Hendrick is another player affected by this eligibility situation with an obvious UCLA connection through Bob Chesney. Bob Chesney connection, and now he's at UCLA. I already did a video on that, breaking that down with 3 possible teams, and UCLA was one of them. So if you want to go check that out, go ahead and head on over to the video there. I'll go ahead and put it at the end of the video so you can watch it there. But let me know in the comments. Would you be on board with Harden? Do you think this is like, you don't really need him? We've got what we got. Let me know down in the comments. Would love to hear from you. And please do like the video, subscribe for more Big Ten football analysis, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.